guys, welcome to part 3 of the First Time Homebuyer Tips. My name is Jasmine Randall and I'm licensed in Louisiana and I'm here to help with all of your buying or selling needs. Alright, so we're going to get into part 3 of the First Time Homebuyer Tips. First, we're going to do a quick recap and go over some tips we learned in part 1 and part 2. Alright, so we talked about saving. Save as much as possible. We also talked about browsing the neighborhood. We want to get familiar with the amenities of the neighborhood, certain deed restrictions, and you can do all of those things before you purchase that house because we are purchasing a package deal. The home comes with the neighborhood and the land. We also talked about what type of home fits your lifestyle best. Is it a single family home? Is it a townhouse or condo, or maybe multifamily? Maybe you're ready to make that jump and become a landlord yourself. So sit down and think about those things, and I'm gonna bring you some more tips today to help you further your process. All right, so let's get into part 3. In part 3, we're gonna talk about all things finances. I'm gonna give you a couple tips on things you can do to keep your finances in order before you sit down and meet with the mortgage lender or realtor to buy that house of your dreams. I'm going to give you a quick disclaimer. I am not a mortgage lender or finance credit specialist. I am a realtor, so I'm going to do a brief overview. And when you sit down with the mortgage lender or realtor, we'll go into detail into your situation. Everyone's credit is different. Everyone's finances are different, so this will be a brief overview, a couple things you can do to keep your finances where they are or increase your credit. So, the first tip will be to check out your credit report. Before you sit down with a mortgage lender or think about buying a home, you want to see what's going on with your credit and your credit score. Pull that report, you can see what's your balances, if you have any derogatory marks, if you have any collections items, and you can start to work on those things. Outside of that, work towards increasing your credit score or keeping it good where it is. And you can do that by keeping those credit card bills under 30%. So let's just say you have a $1,000 credit card, you want to say under $300. You want to spend under $300 every month on that credit card. Keeping your utilization low on your credit cards shows lenders that you're very responsible and you know how to manage your credit. So, another great tip would be to check out your credit report. On your credit, you want to make sure you don't have any late items. This is paying your bills 30, 60, 90 days late. This is a huge red flag for lenders, and this could potentially increase your rates. So when you apply for a home loan, mortgage lenders are not just looking at the credit score. They're looking at those things on your report. So you want to make sure your report is in great shape, good condition, and you want to make sure you're leaving a paper trail that's showing you in a good light. So another thing to look at is your bill payment. Are you paying your bills on time? With credit cards and anything that's on your credit, you want to pay your bills within a timely manner because creditors are reporting 30, 60, and 90-day late terms onto your credit. And you don't want a lender to see that you're not paying your bills on time because that can be a huge red flag for them. So pay those bills on time, keep the utilization low on your credit cards, and another great tip for my first time home buyers would be to get into your checking and savings accounts. Your bank account is another thing that lenders look at when they are approving you for a home loan. They usually ask for your most recent 2 months bank statements. So what can you do now to prepare? I want you to take a look at your financial statements and make sure you are not maxing out your accounts. That means you have a little bit of cushion in your bank accounts each month. You're not spending all of your money to zero, and make sure you don't have overdraft fees, bank charges, return check fees. Lenders are looking for these things as well to make sure you are a responsible buyer. So keeping that bank checking account clean is another good tip. Also, Making sure you're not depositing large amounts of cash or withdrawing large amounts of cash as well. Lenders are going to look at that and they're going to question it. So make sure you are depositing your payroll check into your account each month, and you're thinking about the things you're purchasing and trying to save and not exhaust that checking account every month. Since we're on the topic of financing, before you meet with the mortgage lender to purchase that home, you can start to think about if you want to get some type of assistance, down payment, closing cost assistance programs. If you are wanting to get more information about down payment and closing costs, you can let your realtor or lender know, and they'll go over different programs in your area or the area you want to move to. With down payment assistance programs, most programs do require you to have a minimum amount of money set aside. It can be from $1,500 and up. So make sure you have that money saved in your checking account. When you go to purchase a home loan, everything has to be documented within your bank account. What is debt to income ratio? Well, the debt to income ratio is a formula used by mortgage lenders to see how much mortgage you can afford monthly on top of your other bills. So the debt to income ratio is usually found by taking your amount that you pay every month towards anything on your credit. So this can be any loans, student loans, credit card bills, any judgment, any items, anything on your credit, and they divide that by your monthly income. They get a percentage, and that percentage tells them how much you can afford. When you are thinking about buying a home, you want to strongly think about your debt to income ratios, because you do have other things to pay for. One thing I like to tell clients is that the mortgage lender is only accounting for things that's on your credit report. They're not accounting for, let's say, insurance, life insurance, any utilities, anything that's not on your credit is not being accounted for. So you want to think about your budget and how much house you can afford outside of just those items on your credit. So you have to also factor in any other bills you're paying monthly to make sure that mortgage is going to be feasible for you, because you don't want to be house poor. And house poor is simply purchasing a home because the lender told you you can afford a $300,000 home, and when you move into that home, those payments are killing you and you can't afford furniture, you're barely going out to eat, you're barely seeing family. So you want to make sure your debt to income ratio is at a good percentage for you. How can you find your debt to income? So what you can do is sit down and make a list of all of your monthly payments that are reported to your credit. That'll be loans, any kind of credit card bills, anything like that. You'll take the monthly payment amount, add it all up, and then you're going to divide it by how much money you make monthly before taxes. So let's just say you make $4,000 a month before taxes. You'll add up all of your debts and then divide it by that 4,000. You'll then get a decimal or a percentage. Multiply that by 100, and when you multiply it by 100, you'll see how much or what's the percentage of your debt to income. So, what percentage do you want to stay in? Well, the lower the debt to income ratio percentage, the more attractive you are as a buyer. Usually, depending on the type of loan you're approved for, the debt to income percentage varies. So lenders are looking between 32 to 43%. Some will get up to 46% debt to income ratio, just depending on your loan type. But a great thing to remember, the lower your debt, the more buying power you have. When looking at your finances, you want to really sit down and think about a budget. How much do you think you can spend on a mortgage monthly after you calculated all of your debt, and also look at those other factors like insurance, utility bills, anything extra outside of your credit that you are also paying? You want to factor that in to see where you're comfortable at with paying a mortgage monthly. All right, let's wrap up everything. So the tips for part 3 were to monitor your credit. Make sure you're in good standing, you're paying your bills on time, and your utilization is low. We then talked about how to figure out your debt to income ratio. What is a good budget for you for monthly mortgage, and how to calculate those debts and look at your income to see if you're in good financial standing. So part 4, we're going to go through the buying process from beginning to end, step by step. If you are still confused and you have many questions, don't be afraid. Give me a call. My information is below. I am here to walk you through the process so you don't have to memorize this information. You just want to get familiar with the different terms and the different things you need to know so you can get to that goal of purchasing your first home. Thank you. Have a great day. Don't forget to like and share. For more home information, visit my website at jasminerandall.evrealestate.com.